continue the conversation right now and bring in CPAC Chairman Matt Schlapp. He was the Deputy Assistant and Political Director under former President George W. Bush. Also with us today, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Darin Gaub, a Black Hawk helicopter pilot, battalion commander, and a senior geopolitical strategist. Lots of discussions happening, the ones in D.C. involving Hezbollah and Israel, first talks since 1993, direct diplomacy there. But I think, Matt, this second round of talks, it could be happening this Thursday. Listen, that's just days away. That's got to be encouraging news. J.D. Vance spoke out, said the ball's in Tehran's court, and saying it's economic terrorism. And we also know that the Strait of Hormuz, for now, remains under this blockade. I know President Trump spoke to India's Prime Minister Modi about this as well just a short time ago today and say they need to continue this. This call was 40 minutes. Matt, pick up on the diplomacy that's happening and how quickly there could be potential breakthroughs.
So I'm going to change the old adage, Bianca. Which should come first, the chicken or the egg? The president acted militarily to knock out much of the leadership of Iran, this jihadist leadership, which many of us cheered because they've been a nemesis to freedom and to America, which they call the Great Satan, for almost my entire life. I can remember as a little kid putting yellow ribbons on our trees because they detained our hostages. So that military action was needed. But then there's this question of how do you get to the point where the people of Iran, 75% of the people of Iran who want freedom, over the 25% who are jihadists, how do they get a better government? And how do we make sure they never have a nuclear weapon? This gets more complicated. And so I applaud these diplomatic steps. It's going to take both. Some argued that you should have started with diplomacy and you should have used the military if the diplomacy failed. At this point, we went with military first, which has this one major virtue, which is if Iran walks away from these talks and tries to, posture and try to retain its nuclear program and retain some semblance of a military, which I know the Trump administration has done a great job of decimating, the president will return to using the mighty American military. So they have a lot of pressure on them, and I love this next step.
Yeah, I mean, militarily, everyone's still there. And President Trump has made that clear, Darin. I think Matt teed that up pretty well to where we're at. We know today President Trump is meeting with the U.S. ambassador to China, and China is criticizing the blockade, saying it's dangerous and irresponsible. Well, China needs the oil that's going through there. So in a way, this meeting is even more interesting with President Trump and Xi in just a few weeks. Everyone needs the oil. Macron and Keir Starmer. And here is President Trump in all of this. And I think it's working. Your take militarily.
Yeah, Bianca, it is clearly working, and China wouldn't be saying what they're saying if they weren't upset about the fact that it is, going as planned in many cases. We often talk about how Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas, and all these are proxies of Iran, but we don't often talk about the fact that Iran is a proxy vassal state, really, of China and Russia, to name two of the most important ones. China needs the oil from Iran in order to keep their economy going. Now, you team that up with the loss of the oil that they aren't getting from Venezuela now as well, and you have a significant impact to an economy that was already faltering with internal political divisions happening around President Xi with his not only political side but the military side, which are kind of hard to tell apart. And what you're looking at is a China who is suffering greatly, even more now than they were before because of what we're doing there. And so it's natural that they're going to come to the defense of their proxy nation in the Middle East and Iran and point the finger at us when both those nations have been working together for so long, creating this problem in the first place.